Okay. All right. Let's pray. Do you want to pray, Junior, or you want me to pray? I can pray. Right. Dear Jesus, we thank you so much for this chance we have to talk about good health and diabetes. Please send your angels and help us to have a great interview. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen.
All right. So we're here today with Carol. Carol.
Yes.
First of all, I would like to say thank you publicly and, personally. I never seen you. This is the first time seeing you.
Okay.
But you talked to me on the phone a few times. You were worried about me when I first got diagnosed. You gave me recipes, all sorts of things that they were very, very helpful. But I think the thing that was the most helpful thing when I first met you was to hear your story, to hear about how you dealt with diabetes. And that gave me so much hope, and it made me so calm to think that, my son that was just recently diagnosed, he also, could have that chance. So with that being said, Junior has some questions for you. So let me see if I could put him on the spotlight here. Go ahead, Junior. What? Sorry. All right, go ahead. You ask your first question to Carol, and she gets to answer.
Shoot away. Yes, I'll be glad to answer.
How were you diagnosed?
Okay, so you need to stop moving around. Can you stop moving around and say a little louder?
Yeah.
And how were you diagnosed with diabetes?
How was I diagnosed? Well, let me tell you, I was 12 years old, and I was outside playing ball with my brothers, and I was always an outdoor person, and we'd be out there playing, and all of a sudden I was so thirsty I couldn't stand it. I just had to come in and get something to drink, otherwise I felt like I was going to die. I was so thirsty, and then I was craving a lot of food, and I was a picky eater before, and now all of a sudden I get these cravings. And they weren't good cravings. It would be anything that I could possibly eat. Well, my mother noticed right away. My mom and dad noticed, and they took me to the hospital. And going way back in time, see, you're lucky you are living now when all this technology is here. I didn't have that technology 68 years ago. You had to go to the hospital, and they had a lab there at the hospital. They drew my blood, and 2 days later, they sent that report to the doctor.
2 days later?
Yes. And then the next day, they sent it to my mother. I felt telephone. Now, remember, we only had telephones. Oh, Sasha, shh, shh. They only had telephones. And then the doctor would say where my blood sugar was. That's how we existed. And it's only a miracle. When you think about it, my blood sugar was like 360 something. Yeah. So they didn't put me on insulin right away, but exercise and, eating the right amounts of foods, the best to their knowledge that they had back then, and then once I was on insulin, oh yeah, what a journey. Oh, what a journey. It was kind of like a nightmare because some of the insulin was experimental, but nowadays, I really like to focus on nowadays because he will not go through the problems that I had. Steve, you will not go through the problems that I had because of the technology and just the knowledge of your mom knowing what foods to feed you. I think it's wonderful. You can be a superstar as far as sports goes. You can be into baseball, basketball. You can be the best of anything because of where we're sitting with the technology and the knowledge of being plant-based. Steve, do you like the foods that you're eating?
Yes.
Does he like the foods? He does?
He does, yes. Can you see him? Let me just put him on.
No.
Back.
Yeah, put him.
Let me just put him back on the spotlight. It's just there's.
Yeah.
Oh, hold on. There you go.
The next question now?
Yeah, so she was asking if you like your foods, your
Yeah, I said
plant-based
yeah.
foods.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's good. That's good.
Yeah. You actually remember you said that there's nothing plant-based, there's nothing that's meat that you can't eat plant-based. Was it that you said?
There's nothing. How
There's
you
nothing that's made of meat that you can't eat plant-based. That's what he told me the other day. Because he's like trying to think about all those different dishes and all those different
Wait.
things we could do. And he had an idea for a
Wait, let me
restaurant.
think.
Junior, do you remember the idea that you had?
Wait.
He's thinking. Hold on.
Nothing. What restaurant?
Remember you said you were going to make a restaurant. What was it called?
Oh, that's
I
exciting.
didn't see many names for it.
Wasn't that the something about the burger? Wasn't the Burger King? It was the Vegan King, something like that.
No, that's what you thought of.
Oh, I thought that one. Okay, never mind.
That's all right. That sounds like a great name, the Vegan King. I like that.
Do you want to ask her this next question here, Junior? Because he
Yeah.
was curious about that when we were talking.
How did you check your blood sugar back then?
Back then, oh dear. Do you know what these test tubes look like? The glass test tubes? Have you seen them?
No, he hasn't. No.
Maybe. It's about this long. Can you see it? My hand right?
Yes, he can see you.
Okay. And it's a tube. It's a glass tube. And I would have to put this blue solution in it. And it was called the Benedict solution. I'd have to put 10 drops of that in. And then I'd have to pee in a cup. And I'd have to put 5 drops of urine in it. And my mother would have to boil the water in a porcelain pot with water in it for 5 minutes. And the color that came out would be the amount of sugar that was in my blood. And if it was blue, it was negative. And if it was green color, there was like 1%. And then up to a brick red. If it was brick red, then you were in big trouble. It was way over 300 if it was red, the red color. And that was the only thing that we could do. And then go to the lab once a month to have your blood drawn. It is. That's why I say, Lucy, it's just a miracle that I'm alive. When you think about it,
It is. I mean, even I can't think, like, we have the Dexcom G6 right now. And a minute, any minute of the day, I know what his blood sugar is. And I can't imagine being your mom and trying to sleep through the night, thinking, oh, what's going to happen in the middle of the night? And that's just amazing. So
yes,
let's backtrack a little bit, because we didn't ask this on the camera. So a lot of people don't know much about you. Can you tell what your age is and for how long have you been a diabetic?
Okay, I've been a diabetic for 68 years, and I was diagnosed when I was 12.
Okay, gotcha. We made the math.
Yes, I know. Yes.
Very good.
And I know there have been other people at that time in my life that didn't live very long, and they were diabetic. And they didn't adhere to the diet. And that's what happened. And they just didn't make it. So it scared me enough to really think seriously about what was the matter with me,
Right.
And like most kids say, why me, Mom? Why me? Why me? I had two brothers and a sister. Why me? But that's the exact
question, my Junior. That's your exact question. He's like,
and
yeah,
exactly right, Steve. Why you? You want to know why me? But look I think we can make the best of it, because there are so many other diseases out there that are actually more traumatic. This one is bad enough, but I mean, there are others that are more traumatic. We at least have the ability to control a lot of it.
That's right.
By what we eat, the exercise we get, you know. So in that respect, it's better. It's better than a lot. And so I've taken it in stride. But I'm with you, Steve, 100%. I understand. I knew what it was like then, you know. But, and then, you know, we didn't start pricking our finger doing a glucose test until 1980.
Wow.
Yes, 1980 was the first machine to come out, and it was a lot bigger than they are now. And they weren't as accurate, but closer than anything else. And when they came out with the Dexcom, let's see, I've been using the Dexcom now, I think, for 15 years.
Oh, well, that was his next question. He was going to ask about what equipment you have. So, wow. So you're one of the first people to have it, like a long time ago.
Yes, and that was out of pocket. My insurance wasn't paying for it, and it was a lot of money. And and it was just 2 years ago, Medicare started paying for it. But up until that time, no, it was like $304. They tried to give me a break on it if I bought, like, say, maybe 3 months worth, they would give me a lower price. But with most people, it was even more than $300 a month.
Yeah, that's what they pay right now without insurance. So
yeah,
amazing.
It was. But
and you have a pump too, right?
I have the insulin pump,
Mhm.
and I love this pump that I have. I'm not using it to its fullest potential because I'm not the younger generation. It has the ability to, if you can key in your carbs, you can key in everything, and it'll actually take care of your blood sugar levels, everything. But I don't get into that. I've been a diabetic for so long that I control it myself. Being plant-based, I don't think I really need that close watch.
What is your insulin usage now? I mean, after all those years, how much insulin do you take?
Right. Well, my basal rate at night, at 9 o'clock, I put my basal rate on my pump down to a 0.3. And then during the day, I do a 0.5. And I used to be, my basal rate during the day was like a 0.4. And I was never hungry, and I'm thin. And I thought, well, I've got to put it up to a 0.5. That'll give me a little bit of an appetite, and I'll eat better. And that's the reason why it's a 0.5 during the day.
So is that per hour? Because we're not in a pump yet. We're only doing, because he's still in honeymoon, we're only doing the shots. So why is that total a day?
That's the pump is, the basal rate is per hour.
Per hour. Okay.
Yeah, always per hour.
So that's about less than 10 basal, which is about what he left the hospital with. He had a 10 basal rate with Lantus that he used to have for his basal. So that would be, about the same amount. Plus you also, I'm sorry. Plus you also cover 4 carbs for your meals, correct?
Yeah, it's now, for breakfast, it's like 5 units for breakfast. And then for lunch, it's only 1 unit. And supper, sometimes it's just 1 unit.
Wonderful. Wow. You have really good control. That's amazing.
I really, work hard at it. But there again, being as brittle as I am, and as long as I've had it, there are times when it will score up there to 250 or more, but the point is the Dexcom helps you to get it back down again right away. And that's the beauty of this. Say, oh, wait a minute, it's going up too high. I got to get it back down. And you can, having the insulin pump on you.
Right.
But-
Junior had a question for you. What's
Yes.
the question you have, Junior?
What type of diet do you eat?
All right, you want to know what I had for breakfast?
Yeah, what you had for breakfast?
Okay, well, this morning it happened to, many times it's oatmeal. I'll eat some oatmeal, about 3/4 of a cup of cooked oatmeal, and blueberries. I'll have some blueberries or raspberries, strawberries, cut up some strawberries. Let's see, this morning I had grapes instead. And my blood sugar was running a little low. It was 80, but I could tell it was telling me it was dropping. So I had some grapes before breakfast to get it back up to where it should be. And I know your mom's been giving you grapes too, right? Yeah, I love those grapes.
So is that what you do for lows, Carol? Basically the grapes, or what else do you use for lows?
Well, okay. And if you, for instance, I make my own waffles, and my waffles have garbanzo beans in them. Did I give you that recipe?
Wow, no, now that would be
I
nice.
did. Oh, I've got to text it to you.
Yeah.
It's got garbanzo beans in it, and oats, and a tablespoon of olive oil, and a little bit of honey. And it is so good, and it's got the fiber in it. It's got the protein in it.
Mhm.
See,
We
the protein
do a
helps too.
waffle at home with quinoa. We do a quinoa waffle with flax seeds, and he likes that. Maybe I'll give you my recipe to you too, but that sounds
Yeah.
great. He loves garbanzo beans, right, Junior? It's one of his favorite. He loves that.
Oh, it is. It's one of my favorites too. And well, in that waffle recipe, you can put a half a cup of millet in it, or a half a cup of quinoa in it, the ground quinoa. So
Okay.
you can do that too with it. And
Very
it gives
good.
you so much good, nutritious food in there.
You have
And
a
it's good
question,
for-
Junior?
Yeah.
I just want a question.
What? What, honey?
I'm gonna tell her that my favorite is black beans.
Your favorite is black beans.
Yes, I
Mhm.
love black beans too. Oh, awesome. I have a recipe that's in our chip cookbook that it's not necessarily a stew, but it has some seasonings in the black beans. You can have it over toast. I mean, you can have it over rice. You can have it over a baked potato even. And it is so good.
That sounds
You
amazing.
like it? Yeah.
That sounds great. Carol,
Yeah.
since you mentioned CHIP, can you explain what is CHIP and how did you get involved with being a facilitator for CHIP?
What is
Well, about 15 years ago, the CHIP came on board down here, and it's the Complete Health Improvement Program. That's what it stands for.
Right.
And being plant-based and teaching people how to go plant-based and the
It
reasons
used to
why.
be called the Cardiac Health Improvement Program because it was for
Yeah.
your heart. And then
Yeah.
so I'm a facilitator too. And that's actually how I heard about you, because somebody told me
Okay.
there's a CHIP facilitator and she has diabetes, so you have to talk to her. So that's how I got your phone number.
Okay, that's it. Well, and Dr. Deal, oh, God bless Dr. Deal. Isn't he amazing?
Yes. Mhm.
He stayed in our house for 10 days
Oh, wow.
when he was here, and I fed him. He ate everything we ate. It was wonderful. I was so excited to have him. My husband and I were so excited to have him here with us, because I said, oh, this is great. He'll eat whatever we fix. I don't have to worry about whether he's going to like it or not. And he was so easy to have around. It was just great. But I got sidetracked. No, you were asking me about CHIP. Okay,
Yes.
it's been about 15 years ago. I think it came to Fort Myers, and a friend of mine asked me to help her in the program, and she led out two of my friends, and they were leading out, and we'd have classes at the hospital. They let us use one of their rooms, and then we had classes at the college, and it was challenging because, you're bringing food in, you don't necessarily have the water available and everything, but the people were really excited about learning. A lot of them were.
Yes.
And that's how we started. And that was 15 years ago. And then I helped volunteering for a long time. And then I became a facilitator.
Mhm. Very good.
Yeah.
Do you see a lot of people at CHIP that perhaps they have diabetes and they get an improvement in their overall lifestyle and quality of
Yes.
life because of that program?
That was one of my jobs besides the cooking. They would give me all the diabetics in the class, and I would work with them, showing them what foods would be best for them, as they're on their journey. And so, yeah, one of them got off their medication.
Right.
And because he was an older man, and it was just type 2 diabetic. And it was so wonderful to see them get off the medicine and do so well.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So I don't know, how much you heard from our story, but I know a lot of people don't know our story. And this is going to go to some of my friends because we haven't shared our story yet.
Okay.
So basically, Junior, when he left the hospital, he had about 22 units of insulin. And at the hospital, he was being fed all sorts of things that he was having a party, right, Junior?
Yeah.
And you can see his face right now, but what types of things, Junior, did you eat at the hospital?
Ice cream.
Oh my goodness.
Cheetos, cheese sticks.
Oh.
Cheese sticks.
Oh.
I would have the eggs.
Eggs, yes. Well, but like when he got sick, I went home. For the first day I went home, because we were there for days at the hospital.
Yeah.
He had ketoacidosis, so his pH, his blood
Whoa.
pH was 6.9, and 6.8 is not compatible with life. So he almost died when he went to the hospital.
Wow.
He was breathing like this, and he told me, he said, "Mommy, I'm going to die today." And I said, "Nah, Junior, come on, you're being dramatic." But when we got there, they rushed him and they started treating him, and he was really close to death, and I had no idea. And I heard later from other diabetic parents that that's a very common story, that we don't know that this is happening, and they get into what we call ketoacidosis. But as soon as he got a little bit better and his pH was a little bit better and started to get the insulin and found out what he was, they tell you type 1 diabetes, you're in shock. But first 3 days, I finally decided to go home. I'm like, I'm going to go home and change, because I hadn't gone home and changed. And when I came back home, Junior has this little face, in this bowl of like ice cream and chips and Cheetos. And he's having the party of his life in the hospital. And I'm like, what are you eating? What are they feeding you? Because, to me, it was such a shock, because I thought, he's sick. He almost died. And now that's what they're feeding him.
That's sad. That is sad. It's very sad that they do that. Yeah.
Yeah. The whole philosophy is, they told him, eat whatever you want and just count the carbs. Which, they don't tell that to anybody else that's sick. So if somebody has cancer, if somebody has anything else, they talk about, a healthy diet and exercise and everything.
Right.
But for diabetes, that's not the nutritional information. Was, here's a carb list. You're going to count every so many carbs, you give him insulin, but just let him eat whatever. So actually he started to get worse when he came out of the hospital. His insulin needs were getting worse and worse, and his numbers were in the 300s the whole time for the first few days. Even after being home from the hospital. And I told my husband, enough is enough. I'm going to go back to my ways that I know what the correct way is. I know
Yeah.
I haven't done that growing up. I'm not, somebody that was raised on healthy diet. I was raised on noodles and cookies, like that's basically how I was raised, noodles and cookies and white bread with butter, So now I'm like, I'm gonna go and all the stuff that I learned. And God is so good. Just a few months before he got diagnosed, my friend invited me to go to CHIP and to watch the program for the facilitators. So when he got diagnosed, I had all that knowledge in the back of my head. So
See, yes.
God had prepared that, and then
Yes.
I call my CHIP person. I forgot what her name is, but she told me about you, and then we start talking, and we did a lot of changes. Junior had never eaten a full salad before, right, Junior?
Mom,
What?
Wow.
aren't you going to tell her the other
He
part
was-
of our story?
Oh no, not right now. But he was very picky. He didn't like
Yeah.
vegetables and salad. And today, like just for lunch today, he had a huge salad, and we had a gluten-free vegan pizza.
Yes.
But he had a big salad before, and that's a big change. So for us, it was a huge change, and we really thank you for all the knowledge you gave us. Do you have any other tips, like as far
Well,
as?
I know, you know what, when I was working with the diabetics in the CHIP program, each class always had some classes, we had 5 or 6 diabetics. And whenever I worked with them, I would say, you eat all you want according to the CHIP program,
Right.
with your plant-based, but you got to count the carbs. Because regardless, you still have to know exactly what you're eating, even though it's plant-based. And that's what I would do. You go easy on the bread, but you can eat more of the vegetables. I mean, I have a ball with those vegetables.
Mhm.
Eat the broccoli, eat the cauliflower. And does he like cauliflower? Does he like broccoli?
Yeah, he does.
Wonderful. Yeah, all those, they are the superb
Green
kale.
beans, right, Junior? Green beans. He loves green beans.
Does he eat
So
collards and
for
kale?
somebody watching this, just I haven't done much of that. I probably should do that. But for people watching here, that never did plant-based, people think, what are you gonna eat that's plant-based? You're
I
gonna
know, I
starve.
do.
What are you gonna starve your son? It's not, he eats a lot. You talk about your breakfast, we have beans with every meal, and we have 2 major meals, breakfast and lunch, and then a light supper. But we have beans.
Very good. Very good.
Yeah, so we do like all sorts of beans and lentils and mung beans and chickpeas. So we pick one, for every meal. And then for breakfast, we always do some type of fruits or smoothies with flaxseed. And we make waffles, we make all sorts of things, granola, we make our own granola.
Oh, yes, I make my own granola too. Yeah, I do that. Yeah, absolutely.
And then for lunch, it's always a salad and some type of vegetable, whatever vegetable of the day, broccoli or cauliflower or whatever he's in the mood for. And then we do something else special. It might be like, a little bit of pasta or just normal regular food. But there's always, I think the legumes is the big one. Like you do a type of legume that makes it that you're full. Like he even said the first week we start to eat all those legumes. The first time that he ate that for breakfast and lunch, at the end of the day, he didn't want a third meal. He said, Mom, I have too much fiber on my belly. That's what he told me. So
but that's what makes you full, is the fiber. People don't realize that they need that fiber. Yes.
So he's all about the fiber.
Good.
Right? So yeah, that's basically anything like that you like, that's some of your favorite things to eat.
Well, I mean, I love fruit. And if I'm having a low blood sugar, and I'm still here at the house, I'm not out somewheres, I will we always have watermelon cut up already. My husband will cut up a watermelon. I'll eat a dish of watermelon pieces or grapes, strawberries, blueberries, And I try to do that because I'm not only getting the sugar from the fruit, but I'm getting the fiber.
That's right.
And it makes a big difference. And
What are your thoughts on fruit, Junior? Do you like that? That's some, you just said
the
some of his favorite fruits. What are some of your favorite ones, Junior?
I like banana,
yeah, bananas are good.
grapes, and
Yep.
I like pears.
What'd you have today?
And what's the other one that
Kiwi.
starts with a C, but it's not from here?
Clementine? Clementine?
No, it's like from Brazil.
Oh,
Cantaloupe.
there is one that kind of looks like a tomato.
Yeah.
In Brazil, we call it kakis.
Yeah,
but
yeah, yeah.
I don't know what they're called here.
Oh, because I was thinking of a cassava, which is like the cantaloupe.
Oh, we love cassava, right, Junior?
Yeah, that's good too.
It's the fries you had this week. We make them in the air fryer. Yeah, yuca flour, yuca
Oh.
fries. Yes,
Do we
delicious.
still have the air fryer?
Somewheres, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, so you just said some of his favorite things too. He loves them.
Yeah,
And
good.
a lot of people, a lot of people think if you're diabetic, you can't have fruit, which that's one of the big myths, because that's
That's the mistake they make. It's a mistake. They need to eat that fruit.
That's
Yeah.
great. Yeah, he loves that fruit. Very good. So just to finalize, so this is not getting too long, but
Yeah.
do you have any like last words to say to parents of kids that have diabetes, like somebody that was just diagnosed? What will be your main tips? What do they need to know to get through this? And what to expect as far as their life? Because you obviously had a long, happy, healthy life. You look wonderful. Like for somebody that had diabetes for 68 years, and you look like younger than me. You look great. So
Thank you.
some tips for parents of what to expect, like to us when we first got the news is like a life sentence, but it can't really be something else. So if you could talk.
Well, I tell you, since I have lived to 3 eras, in a time when there wasn't any technology hardly to speak of, and into the technology that we have today, this is an exciting time to be in this era that we're living in now with the technology that we have, because you can monitor your blood sugar. You can know exactly where your blood sugar is. And the knowledge that we have of being plant-based, that in itself, a low fat plant-based diet, I shouldn't say just plant-based because you want that low fat also, is just phenomenal. And like I said, the sky's the limit because you will live a long life having that ability. We didn't have that years ago. And I have to thank my mother. She really watched over me for a long time, making sure I got a lot of vegetables into me. And she wasn't plant-based then, but I didn't get that much meat, just mainly the vegetables that she focused on and the fruit, some fruit. But I don't know, just be happy, be happy with your lot in life. Nothing's perfect. Nobody is perfect. Some people have conditions that I wouldn't want to deal with either, and at least this, we have control. We can have control of our own life. And as Steve, as you get older and you're out alone with your friends, you will know what foods to eat and what foods are going to make you sick if you choose to eat them. And then you'll have to pay a high price, to get back on track again. So having this knowledge with what your mother is doing right now, your mother is doing a phenomenal job here taking care of you. That's great. And when you get out with your friends, just remember all the knowledge your mother is teaching you right now. It'll pay off and you will be healthy. You can be a football star. Well, you know what? Oh, wait a minute. Forget the football.
Football.
Let's try baseball.
Yeah,
let's
make
try
it some soccer.
baseball.
Yeah.
Let's try baseball instead. Football, forget it. It's too hard.
You like swimming, right, Junior? Is that your favorite
Oh,
sport?
yeah. There you go. Oh, yeah. You could be another. Who's that famous swimmer? Oh, what's his name? Huh?
The Michael Phelps or
Yes, another Michael Phelps. Absolutely. Yes, yes. Yeah, that's great.
and
Are great.
one last like about your testimony, because it's so nice to see somebody diabetic for like I said, with the health that you have. I remember you told me about some of the things the doctors were commenting on your exam, that you didn't have complications from diabetes after all those years. So can you share a little bit about that testimony?
Well, my primary care physician last year, he finally retired. And I kept telling him, I said, you can't retire yet. And you can't retire until I expire. And he'd laugh, he had a good sense of humor. But he used to say to me every time I came in, I have to go to him every 3 months in order for my insurance to send all my supplies and me to get my insulin. And he'd say to me, I have these doctor friends at the hospital that do not believe I have a patient that's been a diabetic and is as healthy as you are. I said, well, tell me who they are and I'll waltz in the hospital and I'll say hi to them.
Tell them all about chip and plant-based.
I know, yes. I said, listen, I tell him about, and he knew I was plant-based. Yeah, they all knew it, and they were watching me very closely, and thank the dear Lord. Oh, I gotta give credit to the Lord. All the doctors watch me very carefully, and they're amazed because of this plant-based diet. And I always say, thank you, Lord. Amen. Because if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't know all this, And yeah, the doctors they're at awe when they see that I don't have any of the eye issues, the kidneys, the neuropathy even. But I am
You don't even have neuropathy at that age. You have no neuropathy. Wow.
No.
Because that's so common. Yeah.
Yes. But I am struggling with the rheumatoid arthritis. It doesn't do it very often, but it's attacking the lungs. And I refuse to take that medicine. They have so many of the medicines, you see them advertised all the time. Enbrel is one of them. Well, I refuse all that stuff. So I'm just doing the turmeric. And right. I try to be gluten-free. Sometimes I flub up on that,
It's so hard, isn't it? It's hard. Yeah, that was for Junior, I think that was his hardest thing, was to remove the gluten. But
yeah, it is hard.
Once we were able to substitute with something else, like an amaranth, and make bread out of that, or pizza, then that wasn't too bad. But that was one of the hardest things, right, Junior? Would you say being gluten-free?
Yeah, definitely. It is hard.
Mommy, look at my screen. Did you see?
What?
Yeah. He wanted you to look. He was just asking something about his screen. No, go ahead. Yes, we're talking.
Well, I tell you, I will tell you, Steve. I got to tell you, my husband and I get this so delicious. I don't even want to call it ice cream because it's not ice cream, but because it doesn't have any dairy in it.
Yeah,
but
that's your favorite, right? It's so delicious. And
it is.
Yeah, so it's really good.
Yes.
Allergen friendly and all. Yeah, exactly.
So I do. I'll measure out a half a cup, no more than half a cup, and I'll eat that and put some berries on it or something. Yeah, that's really good. So that's a nice dessert, a nice specialty. I'm trying to think of anything else that.
I had one last question for you. I think on our phone call earlier, you mentioned that you're working with the Jocelyn Research Center as far as like future research for diabetes go. Can you explain a little bit how that came about and what is that about?
Oh, yeah. Well, let's see. I've been with them. Let's see. They sent me a medal for living with diabetes for when it was 50 years.
Amazing, amazing.
And
That's
they
cool.
have a medal for 50 years. Then they have one for 75 years and then 80 years. And there have been a few people that have gotten that medal for living with diabetes for over 80 years. There's not that many, but there's a few.
Mhm.
And in fact, my husband and I were at the meeting in Boston, and this gentleman and his son came, and he went up front to get his medal. And it's a beautiful medal. It's a big, and let me get mine so I can show.
Oh, yeah, yes,
Mine.
please.
There we go. And
Oh, look at that.
it's this nice ribbon. It's got the ribbon here. And I don't know how much you can see here.
Yeah,
but
we
it
can see
says
it.
on here, Triumph for man and medicine on this side. And then it says for 50 courageous years with diabetes. And that's what the medal
Wonderful.
says on the other side inside there. Here.
Beautiful. That's beautiful. Yeah, we can
And
see.
then, of course, when it hits 75 years, I said to my husband, I said, I don't know if I'm going to hit 75 years or not, but
You're
if
very
I do,
close. You're very close.
I know I'll take that 75-year medal too. But anyway, you don't want to just live 75 years with diabetes. You want them to be happy, healthy years.
Right.
And that's the whole point of wanting to take care of yourself. We all have to go through this life, and we want to be as healthy as we possibly can. And Steve, your mother's doing a great job helping you be that. You know? Yeah. Yeah, even though sometimes you want to do something differently than what your mother's telling you. But
Look at his face. He's actually very, very good with it. And we always talk like, what do you want to do? Do you want this or that? And he has choices, and he had made good choices. So
oh, that's great.
The only thing he doesn't like to do, I'll have to say, there's two things that I have to convince him to do, is to drink water every day.
Yes.
And to go for walks every day.
I drink my water every day.
No, you're better. You're getting better. But like, used to be a fight. There's like, drink your water.
The only thing is the walking dog.
The walking the dog. I got him a dog so he could have an excuse to walk. So
what kind of dog did you get?
It's a cavapoo.
Oh, what is that?
say it again.
Cavapoo.
A cavapoo.
I don't know what that is.
It's like a poodle with a cavalier.
Yeah, it's a tiny.
Oh, okay. Well, we have a Havanese, and she's a little cream colored, and she's about 10.5 pounds. And we take her for walks too. Yeah. That's good. That's good. Keep your exercise. Well, you had mentioned the Jocelyn Diabetes Research Center.
Yes.
They had mailed me. They had flown me up to Boston and did all kinds of testing on me. One time I went up there and they took, let's see, how many vials of blood from me? I think it was 20 vials of blood. And I said, this was all for research.
Wow. Just to kind of see why you're doing so well. That's why.
Yeah, right. And so
plant-based, just tell him plant-based.
Yes, I did. I kept putting it on my papers when I went up there. Plant-based. I kept telling them that. Anyway, yeah, they were very happy.
There's big arguments in there's moms group on Facebook and different social media that when we talk about being plant-based, you really can't talk about it because they just don't want to hear that there's something you can do. They say, just let him leave and do whatever they want. But a lot of people don't want to hear that plant-based is something that can help. There was a whole argument online the other day that somebody told somebody that plant-based would help with diabetes type 1, and the other person was like, no, that's just for type 2, not for type 1. And they had this whole argument, people going back and forth. Like, I don't get in the middle of the argument. What I normally do is somebody has a question about what we're doing and why he's doing so great. I'm always glad to share. His one physician, diabetic educator, remember, whenever she sees him, she goes, oh, you're still in the honeymoon. I thought you'd be done with that by now. But, he's just really well controlled and doing really well, but it's basically the plant-based, But yeah, people don't sometimes want to hear about the plant-based, but I'm so happy that you can give that testimony.
Oh, yes, absolutely. I'm telling you, I am so glad to hear it. Is he talking?
Right. Anyways, well, I just want to say thank you again, and I'm probably going to close up the interview. I think that was really great. Do you have any last questions for Carol? Anything you want to know about living with diabetes? No, I think he asked his questions right in the beginning. He wanted to know about the old days. What did you do in the old days?
The old days.
And you answered that. So
that was awesome. Tell him the old days were bad, really bad, because they didn't know. They didn't know.
Can you imagine, Tender, if you wanted to know your blood sugar, instead of poking your finger and know in 1 minute, you had to go to the hospital, drive to the hospital, get your blood sugar. 2 days later, the doctor will call you and say, hey, your blood sugar is 350. And then what? Because it could be different by 2 days later.
That's right. That's right.
Can you imagine? That's how she got diagnosed when she was a kid. So that's, to me, is just amazing. That's just
I know.
Unbelievable.
I know. Yeah. Not to mention the stainless steel needles we had to use.
Oh, wow. They're probably big needles too back then, huh?
They were bigger needles, and they had, after a while, you kept using the same needle. You kept sterilizing it. You boil the needles, and you have to keep using it, and it would get burrs on the end of it, and it would pull your skin. I'm telling you, it was a nightmare. It was a nightmare.
Junior's face has big eyes right now. I don't know if you see his face.
That's why I say now it's almost like it's a piece of cake, because it's just so well.
Imagine that as a little kid to have to deal with a big needle that you have to reuse over and over, and it was just hurt.
You would just poke it in your finger and it would rip off some skin.
No.
Talking about the insulin. The insulin shots. The insulin shots. She didn't have that growing up, but you could check your blood sugar at home. She had to go to the hospital. I mean, it was later that she found a machine, and it was big and expensive. But you can see your Dexcom, so you don't think you're good.
Oh, I know it. I never want to be without the Dexcom. Let me tell you, never. That's just a lifesaver.
I mean, even the needles today, they make like the thinner, smallest little needles you can have. I mean, yes, they hurt. I'm not going to tell him it doesn't hurt. It doesn't hurt
right.
When I have to give him a shot. But compared to the old days, this is like.
I know it. It's really a walk in the park now. It really is. Well, it's nice. It was nice chatting with both of you.
Yes.
Really
nice. Thank you.
Anytime.
Thank you. Bye.
You're welcome, Steve and Lucy. Anytime you want to do this, it'll be fine. Be happy to.
That sounds great. Thank you so much, Carol.
You're welcome.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Bye.